Hello everyone and welcome to a video that's a little different from what I normally do on my channel. A year ago I reviewed Sasuke 39. Sasuke is the Japanese version of Ninja Warrior, the OG Ninja Warrior. I grew up watching the Japanese version of this show when I was a kid, and I've gotten back into it in recent years. I get up at 4 in the morning to watch the show stream from Japan, and this year was a special tournament. It was the 40th anniversary tournament. There was a lot of nostalgia for old competitors, as many of them had a great showing despite their age. There was lots of interesting results and historic moments. But there were certainly flaws in watching this tournament as well. So let's take a closer look. Here are my thoughts on Sasuke 40. First of all, I want to start with the good news. This tournament showed that the old ninjas still got it. One of the big stories from this tournament is Kane Kasugi. My dad idolized his dad, Sho Kasugi. Sho was very popular in 80s ninja movies. I grew up idolizing Kane Kasugi though for his runs in the early history of Sasuke, but he retired a long time ago in Sasuke 8, and it seemed like he would never come back. Well, 21 years and over 30 tournaments later, he did come back. He was known for never failing the first stage, and at 48 years old, he kept that streak alive. Kane is an amazing competitor, and I love how he ends his clear with a strong war face. He is just full of passion. Then there's the other 48-year-old who cleared the first stage, my guy Shingo Yamamoto. I complained in my Sasuke 39 review how disappointed I was when he failed the first stage, but this time it was different. This was my favorite contestant growing up. He's been in all 40 Sasuke tournaments and is well renowned for that perfect attendance record. But like I said, he failed the first stage in the previous 9 tournaments. It appeared this man was cooked. But no, he still had life in him. Shingo and Kane's first stage clears were undoubtedly the highlight of this tournament for me. The nostalgia was flowing through my veins. The other old guys did pretty good too. I still think it's kinda sad that the 57-year-old corpse of Katsumi Yamada, aka Mr. Sasuke, is still running out there. But to be fair, he looked a little more spry before he ultimately failed the fishbone by rushing it. Oh, and he was pissed off when he failed. The first ever grand champion, Kazuhiko Akiyama, had a respectable run at 49 years old, but he failed the dragon glider, surely an obstacle that's difficult with his vision problems. And the legend Makoto Nagano just barely timed out on the warped wall. He's 50 and almost got a first stage clear. So close, Nagano. This was also a historic competition for female competitors. Much like old guys, usually they don't do too well on Sasuke, an obstacle course that really is designed for male competitors. But we had 3 women clear the first stage, and this included Ayano Oshima, the first Japanese woman to clear since Sasuke 2. That's a long time ago. And I was predicting her to finally clear while others were skeptical, so that was pretty vindicating. The old guys and the women definitely were both highlights of the first stage. You know what wasn't a highlight of the first stage? The hyperfixation on celebrities. It's a common complaint among Sasuke fans. I know, but they seriously focus on celebrity runs at the expense of the competitors who are actually the best on this show. Guys like ABCZ, Snowman, and other random YouTuber clowns I could care less about. They're just the entire focus of the show, it seems like. They're given long and drawn-out introductions and long interviews after they inevitably fail, with the exception of ABCZ, who did actually clear. Also, I don't know why Japanese guys have stage names like ABCZ or Snowman, maybe to appeal to international audiences, but Japan really does use English characters a lot, I've noticed. Anyway, side tangent aside, I gotta address the elephant in the room in this tournament. And that's the awful editing. And after Sasuke 39, I expected it. That's the sad part. They digest most of their best competitors. In other words, they basically skip over them. How are you going to bring in new fans when you disrespect the best young talent? The person I have the biggest issue with digesting is Tada Tatsuya, one of the best competitors in the show right now. And they give him a low starting number and they digest all his runs. Like, what's their problem with this man? He has an adorable smile. How could you hate him? They also digested interesting international competitors, like the German Oliver Edelman and the American legend Jesse Graff. How dare they disrespect our girl Jessie? Now, I do suspect a reason why there's so many digests, and that's because there's so many clears. There was 24 first stage clears out of 100, a very high number in Sasuke history, and 12 stage 2 clears, which is a record. So you have to digest, and that's fine. But first of all, can't you digest some celebrities instead? And secondly, maybe if you change your obstacles up every once in a while, there wouldn't be so many clears. Just saying. Now, despite the show creators getting lazy and basically adding nothing new, there was a good modification done to the second stage. Namely, the time limit shaved off 10 seconds, so now there was only 100 seconds as opposed to 110. That led to a lot of nail-biting runs. This is a crazy stat. 4 competitors cleared the second stage with under a second left. And you know what's an even crazier stat? All 4 runs were digested. Like seriously, couldn't they have given us at least one of these 4 nail-biting runs? I get that you have to digest some when there's 12 frickin' clears, but seriously, the editing choices were poor. As much as I love the adorable family man Hioki Masashi, couldn't you have digested his run instead? And I know, it would be blasphemy to digest a celebrity's run, but did we really have to see ABCZ lumber his way to the backstream only to time out there? Still, Stage 2 did have some good results for the 2 old men I talked about earlier. Kane Kasugi made it all the way to the backstream, and Shingo made it all the way to the conveyor. Both did time out, but they cleared a lot of obstacles. They had great comeback runs, the both of them. The 3 female representatives failed unfortunately, including Jessie, which was a little more unexpected. Surprising. But like I said, it was great we had that many first stage clears from the older and female competitors. The third stage had plenty of interesting results too. It seemed to be utterly dominated by some folks. Namely, the current legend of the show, Yusuke Morimoto, had no problem reaching the final stage again. He redeemed himself from the warped wall fail from the last tournament, which was certainly a shock, but I can't call that fail a fluke because he failed it in Sasuke 37. I treat it like the Dr. Doofenshmirtz nickel meme. It's really weird that it happened twice. Even weirder that rain affected him both times. Yoshiyuki Yamamoto, now he lived up to his great potential and finally cleared stage 3. And of course, Tada Tatsuya cleared, and they digested half his run, because of course they did. The producer of the show, Inui, he must have some personal vendetta against Tada, I swear. We had a good old pipe slider fail. We had people struggling with different obstacles across the board. But 3 third stage clears, 2 tournaments after a man achieved Kanzen Zeiha, that's kinda disappointing, needless to say. It's further proof that the course has gotten incredibly stale and stagnant. People train for these obstacles because they know exactly what to expect. I think that's why we saw such great results. But in any case, it was cool to see the new rock climbing section of the final stage. Yoshiyuki had an okay run on this final stage, but ultimately failed when barely starting the final rope climb. My boy Tada did not even make it that far, getting stuck on the Simon Ladder Jugodan meaning 15 times in Japanese. I feel bad for this lad. He gets disrespected, has a great run, and then just gets stuck on the salmon ladder, just like he did in Sasuke 37. And that leaves the elephant in the room, Yusuke Morimoto. Would he renew his title of Grand Champion for a 3rd time? Well, he came pretty damn close, like a second away. That was a truly nail-biting way to conclude the tournament, and a great result to witness. Yusuke is still a legend for even getting that far up on a new final stage. Because of the results, this is a much better tournament than the one I reviewed last year. I gave Sasuke 39 a 5 out of 10 for being an underwhelming renewal, for a total lack of my favorite contestants clearing, and for poor choices with digests. That last problem still remains, but there was no lack of my favorite contestants clearing this time. Kane, Shingo, Ayano, so many great clears. There was almost too many though, like I said. I mean, for crying out loud, a 14-year-old almost beat this first stage. And I hope 3 final stage finalists gives Inui a wake-up call. We need a mini renewal of sorts with the obstacles. We need a new, harder first stage. I'd get rid of the Dragon Glider. It's lost a lot of its luster as a tough obstacle. A lot of people that traditionally struggled with it finally succeeded, and there was a few times it just straight up malfunctioned. Get a new jumping obstacle for the first stage. And hey, even if you don't want a new one, bring back the jump hang, why not? Or maybe the jumping spider. That would shake things up. The benefit to this easy and repetitive first stage was getting a healthy dose of nostalgia and seeing the old guys I like do well. But it's time for something new in Sasuke 41. And side tangent again, I know I've mostly hated on the celebrities, so I'd like to point out one heartwarming moment just to balance things out a bit. One of the YouTuber clowns, a fella named Hikakin, likes to cosplay as Kazuhiko Akiyama, the legendary crab fisherman from the show. The only problem is Akiyama has a rockin' physique and Hikakin has a dad bod. Well, Hikakin actually got to meet Akiyama in this tournament, and Akiyama let him touch his famous crab trapping net. It was a heartwarming moment. And overall, this tournament exceeded my expectations and was full of heartwarming moments. I give it a 9 out of 10. I still want to see more new obstacles in Sasuke 41. I still want to see Tada's runs, for crying out loud. But this was a historic, classic tournament. It will live on in Sasuke history. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this review, and have a happy new year. Bye bye.